allegations of multiple sexual assaults cause you to address that with your team as kind of a reminder of what to avoid for your players?
Well, I think that when you look at everything that you deal with in college football as a coach, I think what I actually love and what I realized not too long ago in my career was that this job is way bigger than football. I love the football part of it. It's the nugget that got me into it and brings us all together, even like here today. But we always have great educational opportunities for our players. And what I know now is that a program that doesn't continue to try to teach and build with substance is not much of a program. And so I don't want to be involved in this thing unless we have the opportunity to build something that has some substance to it. Now, every one of us will have pitfalls. I have, through my career, hopefully have learned, and because every day there are landmines out there, but you can never forget that the number one thing is education and growth of the kids that are in the program. And I also think, probably selfishly, is that growth will also lead to better football. And so I think it all actually fits together pretty well. And nobody can get into that. Nobody should ever fall into the trap of being holier than thou, or because in a blink of an eye something's going to happen in your program, and you've got to be prepared to handle it in the best way that you possibly can.
Mike, what happened with the Elijah Blade situation? Could he have come as an academic redshirt or whatever that new rule is? And can you kind of give your take on why?
No, he could not. I don't really know what was said or anything like that, but it was very similar situation, the exact situation with Watts. So
you would not have made it regardless. Why didn't you guys place him yourself somewhere in this situation?
That I've never necessarily been. First of all, I don't ever think of placing a guy. I think of advising. And they have to make that decision themselves. So I never get into that business of this is where we want you to go, and because I think that that's going to be for them another personal decision that will be very important to them. So, we can give advice. We do have some thoughts, but that's as far as I go with it anyway.
Mike, have you guys decided what you're going to do, disciplinary actions, if any, to Stanley Morgan?
No, not finally yet. We have taken some great, gigantic steps with those two kids that got into trouble in Florida since that time. I've been really proud of the work that's been done behind the scenes in that way. And what we do as far as the games or anything else going forward has not been finally decided. But like I said, I've been really pleased with the steps that have been taken and excited, I think, about the progress that has been made there.
I know you talked about not making any final decisions in terms of what you're going to do at corner with Chris Jones' loss.
Yeah.
How good do you feel about the depth and options you have going forward?
Well, we have some options to think about. I think that the players that are in the basically the next men up at the position, that is definitely an option that I will say I'm excited about. And then the option of some movement is also interesting, whether it's Josh Kalu or maybe Lamar going to the field. I think that we have to be careful because you don't want to all of a sudden weaken yourself at multiple spots by making a move. So you want to remain as consistent as you can. And really one of the factors is frankly, we don't have a lot of depth in the secondary of guys that have played in the games much. So, in the loss, the multiple loss of JoJo Doman and Chris Jones is not good. That is, I cannot spin that in a positive way. That is not a good thing. But with that, we have to go forward and turn that page and make it make it good. I mean, we cannot ever use this as a reason or an excuse, but it is something that we have to study here in the next few days, make a final decision on, and go forward and say this is going to be really good.
Any other injuries on your roster coming into camp, and then an update on Avery Roberts and Alex Davis, who hurt his foot?
Well, you know, both of those guys, Alex had a stress fracture that we think is going to be fine for going into camp and participating in our camp. And then the same thing with Avery. Whether Avery is 100% at the very start, I think Avery will be ready to play. And then there are guys that have had recurring kinds of things that like Deshaun Neal, that we just have to be mindful of as we practice. You know, I think that's another very, very important factor looking at your team physically, is that you know, some guys just have to be monitored in a different way because of their history, and so we have to always be mindful of that and do a good job with it. A guy like Deshaun might be a good example for that as he gets better and better.
There were some meeting minutes that were provided, Sean I, of course, to the academic board, that you guys are going to be playing 3 years of Friday night football games. Can you confirm that? And what was the thought process that went into that when some of the teams here refused to play the football?
You know, I think that the Friday night games, I don't know if I can confirm that information. If that's what Sean had, then I'm sure that's what it is. But you know, I know this has been a big discussion, and I think all I'll say about it, I'm not overly passionate about it one way or the other. I will say a couple things though, that I understand TV and windows and opportunity. I get that, and I think that what's happened for college football and programs, and for athletic departments with the money involved in things like the Big Ten Network for all sports, is a big deal. So I understand that part of it. I also understand, just as a football coach, I don't like short weeks. I do not like to get out of the routine of what we do week to week to get ready for a game. I hate that, as a matter of fact. I'm a real routine guy. The countdown to a game, I don't like changing that. So adjusting that way is no fun for me, because you always have a mystery of where your team is physically and what you need to do, and you know, and then what you need to do in the actual preparation part of it. I had to deal with that in the Canadian League in a big way. Sometimes we'd play Thursday, Monday, you know, and so it's like, really, is this a good thing to do with a 37-man roster? You know, so I've been there and done that for years. So those are the thoughts. I get the TV part of it. I also understand, as a football coach, I don't like that part of it. I also just like Saturdays for college football. So whatever that means.
If you could pull out after this, I know you guys are playing the game this year, but
yeah,
would you lobby to not do it after this year?
Yeah, I would. Okay. I would, for those reasons. I like Saturdays, and I like the full week of preparation.
What are your thoughts on the rule that abolishes two-a-day practices, and how's it affected your program, if at all yet? Oh,
there's so much to the two-a-day thing. I think that we are wise to listen to every bit of medical information that we can get. I think that as we watch we have followed a pattern of what the NFL has studied when they said, okay, we're not going to go two-a-days 2 days in a row. You know, so they went 2-1, 2-1, and then eventually college football did the same thing. Then the NFL abolished two-a-days, and now we're doing this. I think it's really smart. I think whatever we can do to make this game physically better for our players is a good thing. I think all the targeting stuff is really smart. I think it's all a work in progress. I don't think we're finished at all in what this means. I've had 2 different personal conference calls with Dr. Hainline and myself, just to gather information about what's the best way to practice, how to do this. I like learning about all that myself, so I think it's good. I don't think it's absolutely horrible to move practice a little bit longer time frame, to just go 1 a day, but I still think we got to have our practices to get ready for the season. So I don't think it's absolutely horrible. The kids are around all the time anyway. And as long as you give them enough time off, heading into the season, if you move that back a little bit, I think going at a less frantic pace and maybe a better pace medically, I think it's smart. But I think the beauty of it is we are now learning more and more than we ever have about all this in a faster way. So it'll change next year too. I mean, where this is not done.